رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي. So this is an amazing video. It's kind of a mesh between scientific and linguistic miracle of the Quran, both from the same verses. So it's more of a linguistic one, but let me show you. We're going to compare three verses here. First verse, chapter number 73, verse 9, Surah Muzammil, verse 9, which says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم رب المشرق والمغرب. He's the Lord of the East and the West. Right? One East, one West. However, chapter 55, verse 17 says, He's the Lord of the two Easts and the two Wests. And finally, chapter number 70, verse 40 says, I swear by the Lord of all points of sunrise and sunset, meaning in plural, Easts and Wests. So you saw it, you guessed it, what we're looking at. God being the Lord of the East and the West, God being the Lord of the two Easts and two Wests, and God being the Lord of all Easts and all Wests. So now we're looking at رب المشرق والمغرب رب المشرقين رب المغربين ورب المشارق والمغارب. So we're going to look at it. First of all, scientific. It's a small one. It's more than a miracle. Of course, it's a miracle in that sense, but we're looking at scientific accuracy. How can we have one East, one West? That's obvious. Scientifically, it's accurate. The two directions, the two places where the sun rises and the sun sets. Simple. Two Easts, two Wests, as in Surah Ar-Rahman, is again simple. It could either mean the East and the West of the shortest day of the year and the longest day. It could mean that, the two Easts and two Wests, or it could just mean a place where sun rises on a day. There is a place setting as well, right? And the place it sets, there's a place for which it and on the moment it sets, it rises in another place. That it could also mean that, right? So scientifically accurate. And multiple, again, it's scientifically accurate. All points of sunrise and sunset, that's also scientifically accurate, because we know that the sunrise and sunset is constantly happening on this planet, right? Every second, like there are infinite sunrises and sunsets happening right now as the Earth keeps rotating. The sunrise and sunset keeps on happening, and it could also mean that the sun rises from a different point every single day on the same point on the Earth as well, right? So it can mean scientifically accurate. One East, one West, two East, two West, multiple Easts, multiple Wests. Scientifically accurate. Now let's go to the fun part, the linguistic part. Why would God say at one place, I'm Lord of the East and the West in the singular? Then here he would say, Surah Rahman, two Easts, Lord of the two Easts and Lord of the two Wests. And then why would he say Lord of the Easts and the Wests? That's what we're looking at, the interesting part, the linguistic part. So let's look at the wisdom. Surah Muzammil, it's all in the context, isn't it? This is a contextual study, right? In linguistics, it's a lot of it is a contextual study. So look at the contextual accuracy, appropriateness, and pinpoint precision of the Quran. Look at it. Surah Muzammil, chapter 73, verse 9, which says, He is Lord of the East and the West. It's one East, one West. And look at the context. He is Lord of the East and the West. It's in the singular. Why? Because it says, there is no God worthy of worship except Him, so take Him alone as a trustee. Here is the mention of God's oneness. So he mentioned the East and the West in the singular. However, Surah Rahman, Lord of the two Easts and Lord of the two Wests. You know Surah Rahman, the entire surah talks to فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Look, which of the Lord's favor will you both deny, the jinn and the men? The surah goes on, which of the Lord's favor will you both deny? Which of the Lord's favor will you both deny? The entire surah, you know it. It just mentions both the jinn and the men. It's in the dual, so it was appropriate that it mentions Lord of the two East and the Lord of the two West, in line with the context of the surah. Right? It's amazing how this surah mentions these things in pairs. And then even here, it's mentioning it things in pair. If you go to verse number 5, the sun and the moon travel with precision, mentioned together. Then the stars and the trees, the two things mentioned together, bow down in submission. So in the context, it's accurate to say the Lord of the two Easts and Lord of the two Wests. Contextually accurate, subhanallah. And finally, Lord of all the points of sunrise and all the points of sunsets. This is amazing. If let me just tick one translation here so it becomes easier to read. I'm gonna open up and see what's before this. The verses start from here. So let's read the translation from verse number 36 onwards in Surah Ma'arij. So what is the matter with the disbelievers that they rush headlong towards you, O Prophet, from the right and from the left in groups to mock you? And here it is, from does every one of them expect to be admitted into a garden of bliss? No, they already know what we created them from. So I do swear by the Lord of all the points of sunrise and all the point and sunset, we are truly capable of replacing them with others better than them, and we cannot be prevented from doing so. So this is amazing. You know why it's sunrise and sunset from multiple mashariq wal magharib? Because look at the context. The disbelievers are coming to the Prophet when he's preaching. They're coming to him from all the directions, from the left and the right, from everywhere. They're coming to him. So it was appropriate to say the easts and the wests, because God is saying, I'm the Lord of the east and the west. Don't worry, they may be coming from all directions, but I'm in control of all the directions, right? I'm the Lord. First of all, that. And secondly, what comes after is also in line with the context, which is, I am capable of replacing them with others better than them, and we cannot be prevented. Meaning God is saying, you can come from any direction, but you cannot prevent me because I have control over all directions. Subhanallah. Everything was appropriate according to its context. Lord Rabbul Mashriqi wal Maghrib, Lord of the East and the West. Rabbul Mashariqi wal Magharib, which is here. Rabbul Mashriqaini wa Maghribain, Lord of the two Easts and two Wests. And the Rabbul Mashriqaini wa Rabbul Mashariqi wal Magharib, Lord of all the points of sunrise and sunset. So there we have it. Another pinpoint precision of the Quran, scientifically accurate, linguistically precise, perfectly placed. Subhanallah. And again, as I always say, I will keep repeating it, inshallah. This miracle, along with all the other linguistic precision of the Quran, all the other scientific accuracies of the Quran, all the other numerical and all other miracles in the Quran, bringing them all together in a single book, makes the Quran nothing but divine. Can only be the word of a divine being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah give us complete conviction in this Quran. And with that, we'll end the session. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.